Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to unpack complex ideas, really pull out the core insights from your sources. Today, we're diving deep into mastering inner calm and building unshakable self-mastery. Our mission really is to give you a shortcut to understanding what it means to cultivate genuine inner power. We're going to explore how real strength isn't about dominating others, but, mastering yourself.
Exactly. And the sources we looked at really emphasize that when you learn to stay calm, stay steady inside, life's storms just won't shake you as much. This inner mastery builds, well, resilience, confidence, peace. It turns you into someone who can face pretty much anything with clarity. You really find that when you build this foundation, all that external chaos, it loses its grip on you.
That's a powerful idea. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. Our sources kick things off by highlighting the incredible power of our emotional states. They describe our feelings as being like a steering wheel for your life. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Think about it. Reacting impulsively, with anger or frustration, that can lead to mistakes, regret, like road rage causing an accident, or maybe snapping at someone at work and damaging that relationship. We've all been there, probably.
And what's fascinating here, I think, is the focus on emotional intelligence. Just recognizing your emotional states, being aware of when you're triggered, that alone gives you the power to choose your response. You're not just reacting automatically then. The more you understand these emotional signals, well, the stronger you actually become in managing them.
And for that, our sources offer a really potent technique they call empty your cup. It's a great visual, isn't it? Imagine holding a cup, and it's filled with all your reactions, anger, frustration, resentment. Then, if someone insults you and provokes you somehow, it's like they're pouring poison, basically, into that cup. And if you don't consciously release it, let it go, it just overflows, ruins your peace, your clarity.
Yeah, and the practice itself is, well, simple but really profound. You visualize taking a deep breath, and as you breathe out, you imagine consciously, deliberately releasing all that negativity. It's a simple act, but it keeps your mind calmer, right? And the goal isn't suppressing feelings. That's not healthy. It's more about observing them without acting on them impulsively. Think of emotions like waves. They rise up, they pass, and they fall away. They don't last forever. Mindfulness, often supported by practices like meditation, really helps you develop this skill. It allows you to stay aware of what you feel without being, dragged under by it. So even anger or sadness becomes manageable, not overwhelming.
That makes a lot of sense. Observing, not suppressing. And it leads nicely into another concept, the water principle. This part was really interesting. If you ever, watched how water wears down solid rock over time, it doesn't use brute force, does it? It finds another path. It flows. So our sources suggest adopting this mindset, the mindset of water, adapting instead of just resisting. When setbacks come like losing a job or an ending relationship, a personal challenge, you can choose to flow around them.
Exactly. That's the key. Instead of fighting against what's happening, which is exhausting, you pause, you breathe. And then you ask yourself, okay, how can I move around this? Or maybe, what's the next best step from here?
This mindset of flow, well, it requires patience, persistence, flexibility. But it helps you find solutions that might have seemed impossible before when you were just pushing against the obstacle. And it also prevents burnout, which is huge. When you stay calm and adapt, setbacks become lessons. They're not just failures anymore. You see this with entrepreneurs, right? They pivot, find new paths instead of just quitting. They stay centered, and that calm actually keeps their momentum going.
It's about that internal state again. And our minds, well, they're constantly whispering stories, aren't they? Things like, oh, I'm not good enough, or this is just too hard. These internal conversations, this inner dialogue, it profoundly shapes how we feel and what we do. If you leave it unchecked, it can easily lead to fear, doubt, paralysis even. Absolutely. That's why it's so crucial to, first, recognize those negative thoughts and then actively challenge them. The sources suggest things like journaling, which helps get them out of your head, or even just telling yourself stop to interrupt the negative spiral. Then, the important part, consciously replace that negativity with something positive, something constructive, like I am strong or I can handle this. It builds real confidence over time. So when stress hits, the advice is pause, take that deep breath, and ask, okay, what's the best move now? That simple sequence, pause, breathe, choose, keeps you in control. It's like a skilled martial artist waiting for the right moment, not just reacting wildly.
Yeah, that pause, breathe, choose is powerful. Speaking of reactions, let's talk about the art of non-reaction, staying calm when you're provoked. Our sources explain that reacting with anger or getting defensive, it actually hands your power over to the other person. It's like you're giving them a string to pull.
Yeah.
And these heated exchanges, they rarely end well. You lose respect, lose your peace,
Right. And practicing non-reaction, even in small ways, every day, that's a sign of real strength, true self-mastery. When someone cuts you off in traffic or maybe criticizes you unfairly, resist that urge to argue back immediately. Instead, try staying silent for a beat. Breathe, observe what's happening, observe your own internal reaction. This really preserves your energy, your dignity, and over time, this habit can become more automatic. You can even, as the sources suggest, turn provocations into opportunities to practice strength. For example, if you are criticized, maybe you respond calmly with something like, okay, can you tell me more about that? It shifts you from being reactive to reflective. And honestly, it often disarms people who are trying to get a rise out of you, builds your resilience.
That's a great practical tip. Shifting from reactive to reflective. Now, there's a common misconception, isn't there? That real strength means feeling nothing, being totally stoic. But our sources are really clear. That's just false. Strength is about feeling fully, acknowledging all your emotions, the good and the bad, but crucially, not being led by them, not being overwhelmed. Think of your emotions like clouds passing through the sky. You see them, you acknowledge them, but you don't get swept away by them. You don't act impulsively.
hmm And the technique here is to notice the physical signs first. Maybe a tight chest, shallow breath, that knot in your stomach. Instead of trying to push them down or ignore them, you just acknowledge them internally. Maybe say, okay, I see you, anger, or I feel that sadness. Then breathe and create a little distance, detach slightly. When you master this, the sources say you can handle incredible pressure with, well, with grace.
Hmm?
Your calmness becomes noticeable, maybe even inspiring to others, and it gives you clarity. You start seeing options that others caught up in the emotional storm completely miss. Every decision becomes better. This is how you achieve what they call invincible calm.
Invincible calm. I like that. And it leads us right into another key concept, detachment. Now, what does that truly mean? Because it can sound cold, right? But the sources clarify it's not about being cold or uncaring at all. It's about engaging fully with life, putting in the effort, but not clinging desperately to specific outcomes. They even quote Bruce Lee, absorb what is useful, discard what is not.
Hmm. This frees you up, doesn't it? It stops you tying all your happiness to external things you can't always control. Exactly. Practically speaking, this means maybe accepting praise with humility, not letting it go to your head, and listening to criticism without letting it crush your confidence, finding the useful bit, maybe, like Bruce Lee said. It also means reflecting on your desires, asking yourself, is this thing I want really worth my inner peace? By practicing this daily, even in small ways, you develop this resilience. You know your worth comes from inside. This creates a steady mind, regardless of what's happening around you.
So how does all this translate into how we actually, show up in the world, how we carry ourselves? Our sources talk about the power of subtle mastery, this idea of quiet confidence. And real mastery doesn't need to shout or boast, does it? Think about
Yeah.
those skilled martial artists again, or really wise leaders. They often just walk with this calm purpose. Their presence speaks louder than words. Their strength is just felt.
Yeah, you feel it. And cultivating this means, well, practicing things like walking with purpose, using clear, thoughtful words, meeting others' gaze confidently but calmly. Your actions should align with your values. That's built through consistency day by day. And this is crucial for sustaining it, protecting your energy. Your energy, your focus, your emotions, your spirit. That's your most valuable resource, really. And so many things drain it: negativity, doom scrolling on social media, constant worrying. So learn to say no when you need to, limit exposure to negativity where you can, curate your environment, spend time with people who are also focused on growth, maybe establish routines like a short morning meditation or an evening reflection, just something to ground you each day, and regularly check in. How does my energy feel? What's draining it? And then try to avoid those triggers. This keeps your inner fire, burning bright.
It all comes together, doesn't it? Ultimately, this deep dive shows us that all these practices, managing emotions, letting go, the water principle, non-reaction, detachment, quiet confidence, they all lead to strengthening your mind, building a lasting inner fortress. It's about training your mind daily, challenging those negative thoughts, studying inspiring stories, visualizing success, even mentally rehearsing calm responses to challenging situations. Every small step really does strengthen that mental foundation.
It really is about that daily discipline and growth. It's not a one-off thing. Build habits that reinforce calm and focus. Spend time with positive influences, mentors, friends who lift you higher. Reflect often on your progress. Be kind to yourself, but keep going. Surround yourself with people who support your journey and affirm your own purpose every single day. Discipline, in this sense, truly transforms your mind into a shield against the chaos.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's pretty clear that mastering yourself isn't some quick fix. It's not a destination you just arrive at one day. It's a daily journey, isn't it? Small choices, consistent effort. But when you really work to align your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions towards this inner mastery, you become truly unshakable. Your calmness, your confidence, your power, it just radiates naturally. And it inspires others too.
Absolutely. And the beautiful takeaway here, I think, is that idea of becoming like water soft, adaptable, and unstoppable. Taking responsibility for your inner world, it genuinely makes the outer world easier to handle. So maybe we can leave you with this to think about. How can you apply that water principle in a specific challenge you're facing this week?
Yeah.
How can you maybe flow around it instead of just fighting against it head on? That's your provocative thought for today.